Good day, and welcome to the Ever Evolving UAE Compliance Landscape webinar hosted by Adam Global. My name is Fahad, and I am Head of Marketing Adam Global. It is always exciting to see so many diverse professionals taking interest in UAE compliance. Our today's agenda will include historical context to the UAE compliance, current compliance framework, trends and changes, and at the end of the session, of course, question and answer session. Now, I would request my esteemed colleague, Mr. Alan Narcis, to give us a brief introduction about Adam Global. Alan.
Thanks, Fad, for the introduction. Uh, Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining the webinar. I would just take a few minutes to introduce Adam Global to you. So Adam Global has a presence in UAE for the last 2 decades. We've served several clients, over 50 SME clients, having presence in 85 countries. Uh, our four major practices as well in the UAE as well. In terms of membership, we have 200 plus member network globally. Adam Global has four core values that we carry on during our engagement with clients: transparency, honesty, respect, and speed with accuracy. Next slide, please. So our global presence is in Europe. We have in North America, Asia, South America, Africa, Australia as well. Next slide, please. So the service that Adam Global cater to clients are taxation. In terms of taxation, we assist clients for corporate tax, VAT, TRC certificates, cross-border transaction as well. In terms of auditing and accounting, we assist companies in terms for external, internal audits, monthly, quarterly accountings, CFO services, forensic audit, a team specialized in terms for market research, market entry, HR services. Next slide, please. Corporate compliance services in terms of ESR, AML regulation, which today you will be getting a brief about from our colleague, Ms. Chinar. Legal compliance services. We have a division specialized in terms of IP, intellectual property, helping companies for trademark, patent, design, copyrights. And last but not the least is marketing services as well. So this is just a quick brief about Adam Global. Next slide, please. So Fad, over to you for introducing Chinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Alan. So, Ms. Chinar Jethwani is a corporate lawyer and compliance expert with over a decade of professional background, working with a wide array of companies spanning diverse sectors like pharmaceuticals, fast-moving consumer goods, non-banking financial companies, and others. Her work has extended to companies operating in India, Singapore, and the United Arab Emirates. She brings substantial experience in acting as an independent director for publicly traded and listed Indian companies and contributing as a legal advisory committee member for the Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Chinar's specific area of proficiency encompass corporate and general law, corporate compliance, and intellectual property rights. She has done her CS, LLB, MCom, BCom, and diploma in legal studies. Over to Chinar.
Thank you, Fahad. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. While going through the historical context of the UAE, exploring establishment of businesses, how the laws are enacted and enforced. We have uncovered some interesting facts which I would like to share with all of you. The purpose of today's webinar is to enhance our knowledge with a more of academic perspective. So let's start with the history of how the businesses evolved in UAE. So historically, the UAE recognized the important role of maritime trade and transportation in its economic development. Sheikh Rashid's vision for developing Rashid Port stemmed from acknowledging Dubai's advantageous position with a vast coastline and significant maritime traffic. So maritime trade is the thing where all this started from. As Rashid Port became a hub of commercial activities because of its strategic location, the need for regulatory measures became evident. Sheikh Rashid's pivotal move of designating Jebel Ali Port as a duty-free port further increased maritime activities, which required a structured regulatory framework. The strategic decisions made by Sheikh Rashid resulted in Dubai's port contributing 24% to the city's GDP through maritime activities. And these maritime activities laid down the foundation for economic and commercial growth of the region. This rapid expansion of ports and the inflow of ships necessitated the formulation of laws and regulations to streamline and regulate the business activities in the booming maritime sector by then. To manage the increasing complexities of maritime trade, laws and regulations were implemented to provide structure, fairness, and efficiency in business dealings. The implementation of various laws was a response to the economic impact of maritime activities, ensuring sustainable growth and a regulated economy. Such formulation of the UAE in ensuring a stable and conducive environment for the business activities the laws were enacted for. Now let's understand how and why the laws are framed in UAE. Next slide, please. These are the objectives why laws were framed in UAE. So the formation of legislations in UAE aim to enhance the country's position as a global center for the new economy. The legislative framework was designed to enhance the business environment in the country by facilitating the code of conduct of business contracts, enhancing their efficiency, reducing the cost of doing business in the UAE, and enhancing the stability. The main aim to establish regulations was a dynamic environment that encourages both domestic and foreign investment in the sectors. The country has issued several regulations relating to the economy, trade, and investment, which are committed to international standards and to the creation of competitive and prosperous economy. Going to the year-wise history, where early years in the 1970s to 1990s, 2 decades, the UAE was formed in 1971, unifying 7 emirates, and early regulations focused on establishing basic legal frameworks for governance, commerce, and social conduct. Then, the government laid down foundational laws and regulations encompassing civil, commercial, and criminal codes, establishing a legal framework for the business activities and governance. With the discovery of oil wealth, the regulations initially centered around managing the oil industry, revenue distribution, and creating infrastructure for the economic development. Next slide, please. Going to the next era, where modernization and development took place during the 2000s, Dubai particularly underwent a significant transformation, diversifying its economy beyond oil and gas. This phase saw the establishment of free zones, attracting foreign investments through incentives and streamlined regulations. So there we see that the government introduced various free zones with specialized regulatory frameworks, offering tax incentives, 100% foreign ownership, and streamlined processes to attract foreign business. We see that there are various free zones in Dubai, or rather in UAE, such as DMCC, DIFC, Jafza, IFZA, Shams. Depending upon various geographical incentives, these free zones were established. Emirati leaders initiated reforms aimed at liberalizing the economy, enhancing the competitiveness, and aligning regulations with global standards. which included initiatives in the financial sector and stock exchanges as well. Next slide, please. Post-global financial crisis include regulatory reforms as well as legal framework and enhancements, where the global financial crisis, during the aftermath of the global financial crisis, the UAE took steps to strengthen its regulatory environment. This involved enhancing oversight in financial institutions, real estate, and corporate governance to prevent future crises. The country focused on updating the enhancing legal and regulatory frameworks, especially in areas like corporate governance, anti-money laundering laws, combating financial crimes, etc. In the recent years, where we are talking about mid-2010s to present years, the UAE continued its economic diversification efforts by promoting innovation in technology-driven sectors. Regulations evolved to accommodate emerging industries such as fintech, renewable energies, and healthcare. The emphasis on compliance and transparency enhanced, where regulations were strengthened to align with the global best practices, focusing on anti-corruption measures, data protection, and international compliance standards. The UAE embraced sustainability aligning with regulations with environmental protections, renewable energy initiatives, and sustainable development goals. Next slide, please. Looking at the current compliance framework, what all is included in the present scenario, next slide, please. We'll see what forms a part of current compliance framework in UAE. So the UAE has a federal legal system, as you all know, and many compliance regulations are set at the national level. Key federal laws include the UAE Constitution, Federal Penal Code, and others, which cover various aspects of business and personal conduct. The UAE has numerous free zones, each with its own regulatory framework, where the free zones often offer the specific incentives and regulations to attract foreign businesses, compliance requirements which vary between them. The Central Bank of the UAE regulates financial institutions and plays a crucial role in ensuring compliance within the banking and financial sectors. Moving forward, the UAE has also implemented stringent AML and CTF regulations to combat financial crimes. Businesses, especially those in the financial and designated non-financial sectors, are required to adhere to the regulations to prevent money laundering and financial terrorism. The country also has commercial companies law, which governs the establishment and operation of companies in the UAE, specifying requirements for corporate governance, financial reporting, and other compliance-related matters. We have labor law in the UAE outline, which outrights the rights and obligations of both employers and employee, and compliance with these laws is crucial for businesses operating in the country. Next slide, please. Businesses involved in import and export activities must comply with customs regulations, including documentation requirements and import-export restrictions. So UAE being the hub of maritime activities, customs and import-export regulations are also carrying major emphases. Then in 2018, the country introduced VAT. So the business is required to comply with VAT regulations, including proper invoicing, filing of tax returns, and maintaining accurate accounting records. The country also included intellectual property laws, where protection of intellectual property is governed by specific laws and regulations. So compliance with these laws is also essential for businesses to protect their trademarks, patents, copyrights, and all kinds of intellectual properties. Looking at the trends and changes throughout these years. Next slide, please. In November 2023, UAE's Ministry of Human Resource and Emiratization introduced new regulations affecting smaller companies. These are called emiratization laws, where the private companies with a workforce ranging from 20 to 49 employees are specifically impacted by these regulations. The regulations mostly focus on Emirati hiring. So starting in 2024, applicable companies who have this obligation to follow the Emiratization rule, companies falling within the 20 to 49 employees range must hire at least one Emirati national, and the requirement increases to hiring two Emirati nationals from the year 2025 onwards. Previous mandate comparison was that it's notable to mandate that the previously only it applied to companies with 50 or more employees, and now it has come down to 20 to 49 employees. Penalties for non-compliance: if the companies fail to comply with these regulations to employ at least one Emirati in 2024, these companies will face a financial contribution of 96,000 dirhams to the government. And for those not meeting the requirement of Emirati hiring by 2025, the financial contribution increases to 108,000 dirhams to pay to the government. Then comes involuntary loss of employment scheme, which is a recent amendment, one of the recent amendments. The involuntary loss of employment scheme came into effect as of 1st January 2023, which is a form of social security that will provide workers with up to 3 months of compensation if they lose their job. The scheme applies to workers in the private and public sector, and everyone needs to be enrolled into this. Everyone needed to be enrolled into this by 1st October 2023. This deadline was extended to give employees more time to sign up, and the compensation is calculated up to 60% of the employee's salary. According to the Cabinet Resolution number 97 of 2022, UAE employees who fail to subscribe to the insurance within the grace period will be required to pay a fine of 400 dirhams imposed by the ministry and a fine of 200 dirhams in case the insured fails to pay the prescribed insurance premium for more than 3 months. Going forward, introduction of corporate tax, as everyone is aware of, that is also one of the new Trenton amendments. So the corporate tax was introduced in January 22 by the Minister of Finance, which revealed plans to implement federal corporate tax on the net profits of businesses adhering to relevant provisions. Objective of the this implementation of corporate tax was to enhance the global business and investment presence in the UAE, expediting development and maintaining international tax transparency standards. The corporate tax will come into effect for the financial year beginning on or after June 2023, and the businesses in the UAE will be subjected to standardized their corporate tax rate of 9% on taxable profits that exceeds 300,075 dirhams. 0% rate for small businesses is also there. For profits up to the threshold of 375,000 dirhams will be taxed at 0% rate, providing support to small businesses and startups. Moving forward, the country also has regulations regarding data protection, where the Personal Data Protection Law is the first federal law drafted in partnership with major technology companies in the private sector. It came into force on 2nd January 2022. And the objective of bringing this law is to ensure the confidentiality of information and protect privacy of individuals in the UAE. This provides a proper governance for data management and protection, and it also defines the rights and duties of all the parties concerned. The UAE has implemented data protection laws primarily governed by the UAE privacy law, which regulates the collection, storage, use, and sharing of personal details, ensuring privacy and obligations for both public and private sector entities, for which adhering to the compliance is also crucial to avoid penalties and legal consequences. Next slide, please. If we see all the trends come over the years, it's to be concluded that the UAE's legal framework has been meticulously drafted to align with the international standards, providing a secure and predictable environment for businesses to operate. Regulations covering areas such as trade, taxation, compliance have also been established, contributing to the UAE's reputation as a business-friendly and transparent destination. The legal framework serves as a cornerstone for the country's economic stability, facilitating foreign investment, which emphasis is more given to conducive environment for business expansion. The UAE's commitment to continuous improvement in its legal and compliance infrastructure reflects its dedication to maintaining globally competitive and compliance business landscape. This is all from our side to cover the historical background of how the legal regulations and legislative formed over the period of time. And we welcome if you have any questions in the chat box.
That was very insightful, Chinar. Of course, compliance is not just about the regulations, but it's about the integrity and values of a company as well. Those who do not see compliance as a challenge can also see opportunities hidden in compliance. So I think there is a guest who's trying to ask a question in the chat section. Yes, Mr. Iqbal Khan, you can ask any question through chat and we'll try to get it answered. At the same time, our contact details are also visible on the screen. You can also contact us through phone or send us your queries through email. You can also request a one-on-one session for your queries through our email. Those who joined this webinar a little bit late could not obviously attend it, but we will upload the whole webinar and share the link through emails with all of our attendees. So Mr. Iqbal Khan is asking that he's from India and do we have any offices based in India? Yes, we do have our partner offices in India as well. If you kindly share with us your contact details through email, we can not only reply to your queries, but also can get you connected with one of our partners in India. So I'm greatly, okay, can share the location. Okay, I will share with you our company profile, and through that company profile, you will be able to locate, because there are multiple offices. You can find one of those, the closest one, right? So once again, I'm thankful to everyone who attended the webinar, and we hope that you will be participating in our. Okay, now there are some couple of other questions. So Tasneem is asking, we are a startup company. My revenue is less than 100K. Should I register for VAT? So, Chinar. Chinar, would you like to entertain these questions?
Hello, yes, am I audible?
Yeah, now you are audible. So the question is from Tasneem. We are a startup company and my revenue is less than 100K. Should I register for VAT?
May I request Ellen to answer on this specific query?
Right. Okay. So over to Ellen. Ellen, you are on mute.
Yes. Yes, Fad.
Okay. So one of the attendees, Tasneem, the question is, my revenue is less than 100K. Should I register for VAT?
So no, as per VAT, to get registered for VAT, the voluntary threshold is 187,100,000 dirhams.
Right.
Yeah. So once you cross 187,100,000 dirhams, only then the client can get registered for VAT and the application proceeds further at VAT. Others, it will be rejected.
Okay. So there is a list of questions that we are receiving. Chinar, if you can access the questions and you can answer them one by one, at least a few of them.
Sure. One of the questions that we have received is the question is from Madhumita. Apart from data protection, are there any other compliances for IT? So depending upon the location where you are registered, depending upon the regulatory authority that you are registered with, you will have to follow what all compliance requirements, additional compliance requirements are there, which is applicable to you. Specifically concerning to the industry, line with the IT, data protection is the law that you have to comply with. To check with other applicable regulations, we'll need to check your exact business activity also, where you are registered with, be it with any of the free zones or mainland. Industry specific speaking, data protection is the law that you have to comply with.
Right.
Another question, if no, should I charge VAT or no? This is from Tasneem.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ellen, this is
Yeah,
connected to the previous question. If they are
Yeah.
not registered with law, with
they
VAT,
cannot.
then if they need to charge, yeah.
You cannot charge VAT from your clients until and unless you get registered. And if you charge VAT, FTA can penalize you for that.
Another question we have from Alex. Many companies provide accounting services. In this case, they use accounting programs and databases located outside the UAE. Is this not against data protection law? Uh, as per my purview, this is not because data protection law is covering the aspects of sharing the information without consent of any individual or whosoever the data belongs to. So using the accounting software which is located outside UAE is not covered under data protection law. Mr. Iqbal Khan, you have your concern regarding opening an offshore company in the UAE. You may please give your contact credentials over to us in your email, and our team will coordinate with you in this regard. I don't see any other questions in the chat box.
Thank you all for joining the webinar. You have the email IDs. We've tried to address the questions as well. So if you have any further questions in regards to any of the services mentioned, please feel free to call us on the number or email us, and we'll be more than happy to assist you with the services and your queries. Yeah. Thank you so much. Please do join us, follow us as well on LinkedIn. You will get the latest updates on LinkedIn, even for our future webinars as well. Thank you, Chinar, for the brief on the webinar. Thank you all once again for joining.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Alan.